The night glowed with rain and regret. Through the tall glass walls of his penthouse, Liam Carter, a self-made millionaire and the youngest CEO in the city, stood staring at his reflection instead of the skyline. Success looked back at him, sharp suit, perfect life, and a heart made of stone. Downstairs, Ava Reed waited, her hands trembling as she held the small velvet box that carried the news meant to change everything. She had spent years believing in him, believing that behind his cold words lived the man she once fell for. When he finally turned toward her, his eyes held no warmth, only exhaustion disguised as confidence. "I never loved you," he said quietly. 4 words, calm and final, slicing through her world. The sound of her heart breaking was drowned by the city traffic below. She wanted to tell him that love was not weakness, that she carried something precious that belonged to them both. But pride stopped her. She refused to beg for affection he never valued. Without a word, she placed the box on his glass table and walked away. When the elevator doors closed, Liam exhaled, thinking he had freed himself. He did not know that the moment she left, his empire began to lose its soul. Ava walked through the storm that night with no umbrella, the rain soaking her clothes and blurring the city lights into streaks of pain. Her heart pounded with disbelief, each beat whispering the same words, "I never loved you." She had imagined their future so vividly, a family, laughter, mornings filled with quiet joy. Instead, she now carried both heartbreak and a secret that would soon shape her destiny. She pressed her hand gently against her stomach, feeling a fragile spark of life growing within her. "You are my reason now," she whispered to the darkness. Days turned into weeks, and her strength became her only shield. She left her apartment, found a small place near the outskirts of town, and started working tirelessly to build a life for herself and the child she refused to see as a mistake. When the doctor revealed it was not one baby but 2, twin boys, Ava sat frozen with both fear and wonder. She had no family, no support, and no help from the man who had once promised her forever. But she had courage. Each morning before dawn, she took buses to 2 jobs. She cleaned offices by sunrise, served tables by noon, and stitched handmade clothes at night. Every ache reminded her of what she was fighting for. She promised her children she would never let them feel unloved, even if it broke her to give them everything. 3 years passed, yet every night Ava still saw his face in her dreams. The face of the man who broke her, but also gave her the greatest gifts of her life. Her twin boys, Leo and Noah, had his same deep eyes, his same stubborn expression when they did not get what they wanted. Watching them grow gave her both strength and pain. Every time they laughed, she saw what could have been if love had not been crushed by pride. Her small apartment was worn and cramped, yet it was filled with warmth and laughter, something no penthouse could ever buy. Ava worked tirelessly, balancing motherhood and endless shifts. Some nights, exhaustion made her cry silently beside their beds, whispering prayers for another day of strength. She never told them about their father. She wanted their childhood to be built on love, not rejection. But destiny had other plans. One afternoon, as she left the diner where she worked, she saw a newspaper headline flashing across the screen of a passing taxi. Liam Carter, the man who built an empire alone. For a brief second, her breath caught, alone. The irony burned. She turned away, reminding herself that her world no longer revolved around him. What she did not know was that his life, though filled with power and praise, had begun to fall apart in silence. The rain had stopped, but the storm inside Liam never did. His empire had grown, but so had the emptiness in his chest. Every success felt hollow, every celebration a reminder that something vital was missing. He told himself that power would fill the silence, that business would drown the echoes of her laughter. But late at night, when the city lights dimmed, her voice returned like a whisper he could not silence. He had tried to bury her memory under achievements, yet it always clawed its way back. One evening, as he sat alone in his office, a faint sound broke through the quiet. A video playing on a charity website. A woman was being honored for her work with children. When the camera turned, his heart froze. It was Ava, older, stronger, glowing with purpose. Two little boys ran into her arms on stage, identical twins with bright eyes that mirrored his own. Liam felt the blood drain from his face. The truth hit him like a storm. They were his. For a moment, time stopped. Guilt, disbelief, and longing collided within him. He realized the life he had chased meant nothing compared to the one he had thrown away. He rose from his chair, trembling, whispering the words that haunted him most. "What have I done?" Liam could not sleep that night. Every second felt like punishment for the choices he made. The image of Ava holding their sons played in his mind over and over, each replay tearing another piece of his heart. He remembered the day he told her he never loved her, the way her eyes dimmed, the silence that followed, and how she walked away with quiet dignity. He thought he had ended a chapter that night, but now he realized he had only destroyed the best part of his story. He wanted to see her, to tell her everything he had buried for years. But fear held him back. Would she even let him near those boys? Would she forgive him for what he had done? For days he drove through the city, searching for her without telling anyone. His pride was gone, replaced by desperation. Finally, his search ended when he saw her at a park, sitting on a bench with her twins. They were laughing, their voices carrying through the wind. For a moment he stayed hidden, watching the life he once could have had. Then one of the boys looked up, meeting his gaze with those same blue eyes. In that instant, Liam knew. He could not stay in the shadows any longer. Ava froze when she saw him standing a few steps away, the man she once loved, the man who had broken her completely. Time seemed to pause as rain began to fall softly again, the same way it had the night he ended everything. The twins turned toward her, curious about the stranger who could not stop staring. Liam walked closer, his voice trembling. "Ava," he said, almost whispering, "they are mine." "Are they not?" Tears filled her eyes, but she stood tall. "You lost the right to ask that 3 years ago," she replied, her voice steady, though her heart raced. He knelt in front of the boys, unable to stop the tears that escaped. "I am sorry," he said, looking at her, "for every word, for every moment I made you believe you were nothing." His voice broke as he added, "You were everything!" Ava's hands shook, torn between anger and the undeniable ache she still felt for him. The boys looked between them, confused but curious, sensing the storm of emotions in the air. Liam handed her an envelope. "Their future," he said softly, "and yours. Let me fix what I destroyed." Ava looked at him for a long moment before saying, "You cannot erase pain, Liam, but maybe you can earn forgiveness." As he watched her walk away with their sons, a small smile appeared on her face, one that finally taught him what love truly meant.